aspects of dreams. So what we're going to do is explain what the tools do in dream shaping. So first off, you'll press X to select the dream shaping. And now to make a scene, to make an initial scene or a sculpture, you want to go to this one, new element or scene. That will let you create something. Okay, so when we're in this, we have basically got our initial screen. Now the grid here on the floor, that is literally showing you the center of the level. So everything you make, if you position it on or close to the center here, it will, every time you load up your creation, it will appear straight in the middle of the level and be right in the center of your game, if you like. Okay, now everything in this dream, as you see, is basically a sculpture. So this is something that as a default, when you start the scene, it will place a ground block, which is this one. Now you can delete it or get rid of it if you want, like so. Okay, so now to start off with, we're going to explain what the various tools at the top of the screen do. To get them up, you press the square. And this will basically take you to the initial, if you like, it's the initial menu of icons. So you have search. What this will do is that will let you search online or anything that you've saved on your hard drive of creations you've made. So if you went onto it, it will literally show you, you can search stuff that's online that people have made in the Dreamverse. My creations is things that you particularly yourself have made. Dreamers would obviously be searching for people online. You have prizes, and recent is obviously things that you've recently searched for. So if you've downloaded, say, this creature here, okay, when you come back into this and click on recent, the creature will appear here because it's things you've just looked for. Okay, so you come off that, press your circle to go back. Now this next one here is tools, and if this little dotted line here will basically means that there's sub-menus in this. So if you go down here, you'll see all these green different icons, different symbols, and all of them have different ones here. They're different colors because if you were to click on this, you can see they're all different colored, all pink. These are all pink, and they're all different colors as well. These ones will be blue. They're just basically different colors to identify separate different things, like groups of things, if you like. Okay, so we'll go back to this. Here we have the tools menu. This basically is a list of icons that do different things. So the first one you have is undo. So if you created something, it would appear here and you could undo it, or if you could redo, let's go the opposite way. This one here will let you move something around the screen. So if you're editing something like a block, which will actually put one down just very quickly, yeah, place X to place it. Okay, so we go back square again to bring up this. I'm sorry, I apologize. Right, so you press square again, it will bring you up this menu here. As you can see, when you click on this one, it will open up a sub menu on will open up a sub menu on tools. Right, so then we have move, where if we were editing this, we could move it around, or we can stretch it, so we can make it different sizes, or different. We could stretch it to be different dimensions, if you like. Clone, that will let you copy this particular circle, or this sphere, should I say. Tweaks is, you have a thing called a tweak menu, which you can edit properties of whatever you select. So if we were to select this, and now if we select tweak menu, oh sorry, I apologize. If we select the tweak menu first and bring it over the thing we want to tweak, and then press square, and select it. Let's see why that's not working. I apologize for this. Okay, that doesn't work the way I thought. Just shows you I've never actually used this particular icon before, so sorry about that. This will let you basically delete, I'll explain that later anyway. This will let you delete whatever item you selected. So you click on this one, then okay, yeah, sorry, I know it's wrong, I apologize. It just shows I haven't really used these particular tools too much. So what you would do is, if you wanted to tweak it, you go over the icon and press R2, and it will bring up basically all the tweak menu for this particular sculpture. Okay, so now if we press circle, we'll get it back to, if you press circle when the tip of the imp is that particular selection, it will just take you back to the basic. So then we press delete and go over the icon and press the R2, it will delete it. Okay, now if you wonder the way I can make that go back, basically what I'm doing is I'm undoing by pressing left on the D-pad. So what I could do is, I will show you, if I selected delete and then I undo it, or they press R2, get rid of it, I can bring up the menu again, click undo, and it will undo it. Okay, so this one lets you clone. So what you could do is, if I clicked on this one, like so, I get a little sheep symbol. And now if I go over this particular sculpture and press R2, it'll give me a copy. I can do it again. Okay, now if I press left on the D-pad, I can undo what I've just done. 1, 2, and I'm back on this one. Okay, now if I go to this one, this will basically do the tweak menu as you saw, and delete, and this will hide. What this actually does is, if I was to select it, everything else goes kind of grey. So if I selected a particular thing, like a sculpture I've made, it will make only that sculpture visible to edit, if you like. So this will all be kind of uneditable. Oops, I apologize. This one here freezes. Now I've never used this myself, so I can't really say what it is. Oh, actually there it is there. Stops you accidentally interacting with things in complex scenes. Oh, okay, I think I know what that means. I think if you clicked on that, basically it's like locking this particular, so if I had this one here and I clicked on the ball, it goes blue. So I think what that will mean is I can basically edit everything on the scene except the ball. Yeah, see, I can't move the ball, I can't do anything with it because it's locked, whereas I can move this around. So that's what that would do. And if I want to take that off, I would click on freeze again and click on the ball again, and it'll unfreeze it if you like. So I can edit the ball again, I can move it around. Okay, now this one here is sculpture detail. If you're making a level, the more you do, like the more things you put in your level, the more complicated it will be. And if I press this button on it, it shows you basically a map of how much details that your level is taking up and different things in your level. So blue would be a sculpture, or would be a sculpture you've made that isn't very detailed. So the more red it is, the more detail the particular shape has. So in other words, it's showing you here that this particular ball is very, very detailed and using a lot of thermometer. And this one here, blue, means this is not using a lot of thermometer. So this is actually very efficient. Now, when you make a level, what you can do is, there's two icons here, increase or reduce. What they will do is, they'll let me increase the amount of detail in that particular level, if you like. So what you could do is, if I was to go on to anything in the level and press R2, what it's going to do is, it's going to reduce the detail on this. So I'll rewind and show you. So if I go closer to it, now it's hard to see on the screen, but it basically makes it less detailed. So it would change the fleck types and stuff to make it not as detailed. Still, it will keep it looking as good as it was, or try to as much as it can, but it does take off detail to make it more efficient for the level. Okay, so that's what all these options would do. Now if we go on to the next one, which is modes, this is how you would do various things in Dreams. So you have sculpt mode, which lets you make sculptures. You have paint mode, which basically lets you draw paint strokes. I will explain it in a minute. You have coat mode, which basically lets you change what the surface is, like you can make it more metal or more wax if you wanted, and change colors and things. The style mode, if we go on to it, this will let you change the detail in a particular sculpture, so you can make it more like grass or more like water, different things. Okay, I'll show you that in a minute. Effects mode, this is how you can animate. Basically, if you make your sculpture a little bit looser, not as solid, you can add visual effects, like you can make things animated slightly, like different water effects. I'll show that in a minute. Okay, this one here lets you do sound effects, sound mode. So you can select various sound effects to put in your levels. Okay. This one here is test mode. Now when you're in this particular editor screen, you can test it from inside the game. So instead of you having to actually come out and do a test, you could have a particular menu open on the screen. So for example, this menu could be open, and when you test the level, it will let you play the game. So you click on this one, and now you can just, if you just were to, basically the level is playing at the moment, although there's no logic to control anything. So, but you can see the way that even though the level is actually playing as it is, I can have the menus open. Now you wouldn't see those if you just test the game from outside this. I'll explain that in a while. Okay, this red icon here is basically a go back option. You can do this, or you can press the L1 and circle on your controller. That will take you out. It's called scoping out. Okay, this one here was photo mode. It basically lets you take a screenshot. So if you want on this one, you can basically line up the particular picture you like. So if I was to take that view here, like so, I can take a photo of this with R2, or sorry, with X button, I apologize. And this particular screen here is saved on your hard drive, so you could use that as the cover screen for your particular level, or whatever you want to do the photo, use a photo for. Okay, so we close that. Hi Luke, how's it going? Didn't see you there, buddy. Okay, close that. Save locally. Okay, right, so that's these basic icons explained. Sorry, I apologize. Okay, so you have these various modes here. Okay, modes. Okay, so we're still in modes. So that's what all these various things in modes will do. Now if we go into animate, these are ways you can do custom animations, like a character moving his arms or anything moving. You have action recorder. What this does is that lets you record an animation sequence, like a character walking in a circle. This one here does keyframes. Now keyframes are basically frames of animation. So it could be a character scratching his nose in one keyframe, and then he walks to the left in another keyframe. Timeline is basically, it's like a video recorder, so you could place your keyframes on a timeline and you make like a sequence, like an animated sequence. Think of it like the timeline is like a video, if you like a video recorder, and each thing you record is like a keyframe, so you put those onto it. Record possession means that you can actually possess a puppet on the screen, a character, and the character can walk or do whatever actions you want it to do, and it will record it. So you can program it. You can program it to, when you press a button, he'll walk around in a circle, or he'll pick up a ball, different things. Mic on and off means that it basically just turns the mic on and off, so you could record your own voice if you wanted. Okay. Now the middle one here is, so we go back to this one, which is gadgets, and that's all the logic in the game. So it does all different things, like you can set up the controller to have button presses that do different things, or the character walking. That's all. Basically, these are all different types of logic that you have. Movers. Gameplay gear is things like you can place a puppet, and you put the puppet down like so. Okay. Now down the bottom here, you're getting, basically it's showing you how much of a particular thing it takes up in your level. So you have gameplay memory. That's for stuff like logic or characters. Graphics is for graphics, and sound is for, or audio is for things like sound effects and music. So if I was to possess this puppet, I can go in. If I click on the puppet like so, now I can't actually control the puppet until I go into test game. So to do that, I would go to tools. Sorry, I go to modes, and it will let me go to test mode, and I can basically test the level inside. So when you move over the puppet, it flashes like this, meaning I can basically take control of the puppet, and I can move around, do things, so the puppet's moving. And if I press L1 and circle, I can depossess the puppet. And click on this one, it will take me back to leave this mode. So it goes back on the editor. Okay. Right. This one here is guides. What this will do is, this does various like things, like puts a grid on the level. So if I was to go to this one here, grid snap, it makes a grid. So everything I position in the level now is basically put on this grid. You can see it there on the screen. I can turn my character, but it's turning everything on the grid, like so. If I was to turn that off, I can just move things freely, like this. Okay, and drop my character. Right, so let me see. Now, other things we have is stay upright. So whenever I'm designing a sculpture or anything, if I turn on stay upright, the character will always, I can't basically turn the character. So the character is always straight. If I make a cube, it's best way to demonstrate. Okay, so I can move this around. Now I can't actually turn the cube because it has stay upright turned on. So if I turn that off now by going on guides again, click on this, now I can turn the cube like so if I wanted. Okay, so I delete the puppet there for a minute. It might be useful later on to explain things. Now this thing here, floor, basically what that is, it turns on and off this visual guide to where the floor is. So if I click this, sorry, I'm going to move this down a bit. If I click this, see it turns on the guide. So it's just, the guide is, you don't need the guide on, but it's just handy to line up where the actual floor level is and where the center of the level is. That's what that does. Okay. This one here is precise move. Okay, hold on, let me go through these slowly, sorry. Obey auto guides. What that would do is, I'll literally explain it now. If I leave it for a second. Now, when on, the auto guide is a creation. In a creation is obeyed. When off, auto guides are ignored. So that's literally what it does. Now I haven't really used that myself, so I've never needed to use it, if you like. Okay, precise move, it's something like the grid, but it means that you can like precisely position a character. So if I turn this on, grid space, okay. So what I can do now is when I try to move something, you see the way you get this line appearing? So basically what that means is if I move it left, I can't really move it up and down, although I can. You can see the blue arrow. That's showing you that it'll be exactly in that direction, if you know what I mean. It'll be positioned like here. So if I was to try and go up, I know it's very hard to explain it with the puppet actually. It's better to explain it with a block. Okay, hold on. So what we do is put a block down, go to guides, precise move is on. So it works very good on turning, because if you rotate it, now on my case I'd press L2 and then the right stick to turn it. Now I am using the 6-axis, now the motion controller at the moment, like that's how I'm moving my DS4. So that would let us position it, but you can do exact positions which you might not get if you were using the grid. Okay, so that's what that does. Now if you ever make any changes, like if I angle it like this and then go off it, as soon as I press the triangle, it will automatically, if you like, put it back on. Sorry, if I press L2 on the triangle, it will automatically snap it back to its original position. Okay, so that's what that would do, right? Okay, right. Studio lighting, what that will do is when you start the level, you can place a light in the level if I wanted. Like for example, very quickly, go to, this is all in gadgets, so this is all like the logic of what things will do. So I can place a light. If I can find a light there, light. Basically what it does, it's going to cast a light, and you can change all the settings for the light if you wanted. And copy it like so. Okay, you can see the way it's like a spotlight, so it's casting a light in a certain direction. That's one of the gadgets. Now if I was to go to, where are we? Hold on, I'm on this one here. Which one am I on? This one here. Studio Light. What that will do is, when you're playing a level, you have all these visual effects like lights and the sun casting shadows. But if I want to just edit a particular sculpture without all these lights on, and it makes it a lot easier to see, I can turn on this. So basically it's turned off all the lights in the level or any atmosphere in the level, and it's basically showing you just a basic studio light, which lets you go in and edit the sides of the item you're using. So it just makes it easier to see and use. Okay, so you turn that back off again, and you have all the full game lights or different kind of things. Okay, and again you can turn the floor on and off. You don't need it on, but it's handy just to get an idea of where things are on the level. Okay, that's what that does, right? Rewind and start time is basically whenever you make anything. Say for example this, I would make this physical. Hold on one second. If I go into this, make it physical, that means it's affected by the gravity in the game, right? Now it's paused at the moment because you can edit various things, and it's letting you basically just freezes time, that it lets you just edit various things in the level. So it's automatically paused, as you can see up here, right? Time paused. But if I click on this one, I can basically start time, and everything is affected by gravity. That was strange the way that happened. One second. Okay, so basically what this is, I clicked on the wrong thing. That's what happened. I'll make this physical, movable. So basically when I start time, I can do it two ways. I can click on this icon here, or I can press R3 on the thumbstick. So if I click on this, now everything is playing, so gravity, everything is switched on, and the block is affected by gravity. I can move. Now again, if I turn that off, right, it'll literally let me edit things, so I can position things where I want. Right. Again, if I press L or R3, it'll do the exact same thing. Turns on time. Okay. Now when I'm pressing left on the D-pad, it lets me undo the last action I've done, or right lets me redo it. Okay. So for example, if I press left on the D-pad, it will put it back to where it was because it's undone the last step. And it's the exact same as this icon here, which is rewind. So say for example I start time by clicking on this one. Okay, but that's made a move, if you like, that it's fallen down. But I want to rewind it to the last step. I just click on that. But when you rewind, it automatically pauses the game as well. Okay, right, so that's that explained. So now we come out of this. Now the next one we have is show hide. Okay, what this basically does is there's a lot of different things a level can do. Like it can show various assets or various screens and various dialog boxes. So you basically can say whether you want them to be visible or not. Say for example electronics. If I put a microchip in the level on gadgets, and if I just put any piece of logic, so say for example this health modifier, okay, I place this anywhere in the level like so. Okay, now when I turn these on the visibility, I can basically have electronics where they're a little tick mark means they're showing. So if I click this, sorry, now it doesn't show because it's basically hidden. I can also do things like lights and cameras. So if I click on that, it'll hide all the lights that are placed. I turn back on. So basically what all these do is there's various things like rulers, you can do zones. These are all logic-y kind of things. X-ray. I'll explain those two middle ones in a minute. These ones here. Okay. Wires. Paint. Coating and style effects. Hover effects. Basically on all your sculptures, these particular things you have, whatever you have here, this will show and hide them, so you can turn them on or off. So it's very, very handy if you have a lot of lights on something, for example. You can turn off the lights and you can go in and edit without the lights shining. Okay. So when you make a level normally, okay, you'll get a lot of things happening. You get a lot of logic and different things on the screen. So what you could do is preview invisibility. Basically, it turns, if you have things like zones or logic that you can't see, or things, if you had a sculpture and you made it invisible for a game, okay, and you can't see them, basically this will turn on or off all the invisibility of whatever's in your level. So if you have made that invisible, I will show you an example. If I press L1 and square, I can tweak this one, this particular block, and go to this. I can make it invisible. Now you see it's hidden. So basically when I'm testing the level, you won't see it. So you'd be like, oh, where's it gone? Why can't I edit anything? Or why can't I see it? If I press L1 and square, sorry, 1 second. Sorry, if I just press square, okay, go to this one here. Any kind of things I've made invisible in the level will show up. So I could have made loads of different things in the level invisible. I'll show you. I'll just gonna copy this. Now you see I can't edit this at the moment because it's invisible. But when I turn on this preview invisibility, I can edit it again. So I could copy that to here, there, different places. And now I do the preview invisibility. Because they were hidden, and you've turned off this preview invisibility, or you've turned on the preview invisibility, everything is invisible. So everything that is invisible won't show up. That's basically just a quick way to edit everything in the level when it's not showing up or when you can't find something. So as I said, you could do the same with all the different assets, like so. So that's basically what the initial tools will do. So now the reason this is showing up and I can't get rid of it, like if I try to press circle, this particular box won't go off, is because I have to deselect it. I do that by clicking on the same thing again. So each of these icons basically, say for example show hide, it's showing you there's a dotted line here, which means that there's another menu underneath this, and if I click on that, this vanishes because the menu has come out. So to close it then, just click it again. So that's the basic top menu tools. Okay, this one here is literally just showing you what mode you're in. Okay, now for a little bit complicated here, but basically underneath this you can add a particular camera angle. So say for example you're editing a sculpture. We'll make something very simple. Okay, say for example this. Yeah, so I make a little character. Okay, there just for example is a little character. Very simple. Okay, that's our little character. It's a bit mad looking, but okay. Now basically take the whole sculpture, put them in the middle where the light is. Now a very nice lighting effect that the light is cast down on them like that, so you can position lights wherever you want to do different things. So now what was I going to do? What was I going to show? Oh yeah, I was going to show you what the bookmark camera. So if I'm editing anything in the level, I can place cameras on in the editor that are at a specific angle. So I can have that camera there like that, add a bookmark, and now if I change to another view like so, I can go up here and add another bookmark. Right, so what that's done is basically when I'm editing a sculpture, I can, and I don't want to have to go all the way around like this and do all this kind of stuff, I can literally just jump the camera to the bookmark or to the view that I'm on. So for example, if I click up here, I click on this view, it takes me exactly to the view that I recorded here. Click on this one, takes me to that view. So if I'm editing something, it's very fast way to position the camera for editing it. And of course you can have default will just take you back to the basic initial camera. So default is your starting position. So when the level started, that particular camera view is the default camera view. Okay, so that's what that does. Now let me see what else I can tell you. Start time. Yeah, so inside each of these menus, right, say for example if I go to sculpt, you'll get a sub menu here, these little menus here. And what these are is you can hide everything. So literally if you were making a block and I click on this, it will hide everything but the sculpture you're working on. So it can be quite handy for making something so you don't have all the background in the way. Okay, close that, turn that off again. This one here would start new sculpture. So if I, instead of having to come out of this particular mode, I can start making something completely new by clicking on this one. So now it's a separate sculpture. Start sculpture separate. So there are 3 different sculptures now because basically I changed to be a new sculpture each time. Okay. Edit shape is basically very good. That the way you have your brush here on this particular shape you have, okay, you can obviously change what shape it is by going on here on this mode. So if I selected cone, that's a good shape to do actually. Yeah, do it this cylinder. So I have this cylinder shape. Now basically I can edit the actual shape itself in various ways by clicking on this. Now you get this arrow which basically shows you the direction you can stretch the shape in. So I can stretch it that way. I could stretch it out this way. So I can make it basically just make it different, make it a particular different shape. Okay. Also you have effects like you can also do the section, you can basically split this up like so. Click it once and you go to a hemisphere, like a half cylinder. Press it again, goes to a quarter cylinder. Press it again, it goes back to a full cylinder. Also you can put a hole in it and make a different thickness. So basically if I go over this and press hold X and press up, or move the controller up, I can change the thickness of a hole inside it, and you can do the same, make it half. And if you go back on this again, you can reduce it by holding X on it, make the hole less. That will work on most shapes, some it won't, but okay. Now this one here is looseness, so you can make it as kind of, if you like, as kind of detailed, or you can make the surface, if you like, very compact, the flex in the surface like so, or you can make them less. So it's just ways you can do it. Now the less flex you have, the less thermometer you're using, and the more flex, or the more flex, the more you make it loose like this, the less thermometer it takes up. And if you bring it down and make it thicker, the more thermometer it takes up. Okay, this is just showing you it's this particular fleck option, if you like. Okay, varying looseness, that's quite a nice effect, because you could do trees like that where the flex on the outside will be tighter than the flex so in other words, what's on the outside of it here towards the edges will be tighter together than what's in the middle. I'll explain it. You can see there. Hold on. I'll turn off this home for a second. Okay, I'll try and show you here now. Right. So if I make it more flecky, it's actually hard to see on this particular model. But basically what it's doing is it's just awkward with the lighting. If you notice in the middle, the flecks are very loose, but as they get nearer the edge, they get less loose, and it makes a nice kind of grading effect, if you like. Okay, so I'll just do that. And this one here is very nice. It's a blend amount. So whenever you're making a sculpture, you can basically, hold on, you can choose the pen you want to use, like this. Okay, so basically you're just picking a new pen by going over this particular thing and pressing X. And now if you go into this one, edit shape, you can make the amount that it blends into another, if you like, another structure, another sculpture you've already done. So if I was to go over to this cube here, now because it's the same sculpture, I'm basically just using a different, if you like, a brush, should I say, a pen or a brush. Okay, and you can make it blend in more. If you go back on this one again, you can make it blend in even more, like this. Or you can make it blend in less by bringing this one down. So it's more of a hard edge on it for making various shapes. So that's what that one will do. So there's all the options. This one here at the front is you don't need to really know it at the start. Basically what it is, it's the point that the imp will grab that particular shape. So you can set it to be, there's little dots that appear now. So in other words, I'm grabbing that every time I make a shape now, or grab that one, I'll be grabbing it from this point. So now you can see when I'm trying to use the brush, it's that particular, if you like, that particular point that the brush is being drawn from. Go back on this again. I know I select the very center of it. So now it's basically, it's going to draw the shape from the very center. Okay, again, this is just showing you the mode you're in and the cameras. Just click on this one here to go back, to leave that mode. Okay, so that's what this one will do. This is the sculpt mode. The next one is paint mode. Now what this will do is this will let you paint strokes that you can animate. It's like 2D painting. So if I click on this mode here, I can basically pick I can pick the finish. So that was what I want it to be, like metal, wax, shiny metal. So I pick wax for the moment. Okay. I can also change the color. So say for example I pick blue, this blue here. Now you can also select the, if you like, the actual style, the design of the particular stroke. So if I was to pick this square, I have a lot of different choices here that I can pick. If I was to pick this stroke here, like this, I can basically draw a line. It's 2D, like so. So I can use this to do various effects, like you could do like rope on a flag or various things like that, like this. And of course I can do various, I can change this and copy it and do different effects. So that would be an example of, now basically I can move this and it's a 2D creation, so you can see it's 2D. I can rotate it around and I can position that in here like so. Now because it's a painting rather than it being a solid object like the cube, it won't give a reflection. But I have other options I can do in the tweak menu. I can make it like make it kind of faded, or like a less opacity. So that's what that will do. Okay. Again, you can change all the options on that. You can do all the different colors and the way the flecks move, so you can actually animate things. This menu here will let you animate. I'll do that in another tutorial because that's another thing in itself. Okay. Right, the next one you have then is coat mode. Basically what that does is it lets you coat the surface of a particular shape you've already done. So say for example I wanted to make this metal. That's a good way to show it. Okay, and change it. The color isn't really important too much at the moment, but I'll make it blue. Okay, and now all I have, you notice the icon on the tip of the imp has changed to a spray can. So when I go over it, I can basically hold down L2 and it'll paint with this finish and with this color. Okay, I can pick another color like for this one. Now the thing with this is you don't actually have to select the particular shape to paint it, you just move your imp over it, like so. So I can pick green for this one. I'm painting green, or I could change, if I decided I want to change, I can go to purple and change it to a different texture, say wax. Oops, sorry. I did that wrong. Sorry about that. What was I doing? Yeah, this one here. Okay, so that's how that would work. Again, we have undo, redo. So if you decide you didn't want to do that, you can undo the last step. Okay, the tint mount, the hue, so you can make it as deeper color purple if you want it. Okay, apply finish. So what you can do is you can basically just pick the particular finish you have here. You can apply to something you've already done. You have the glow. Basically what the glow is, you can make it the same color, but it will basically make it a glowing effect. So if I do this, now you notice also when you do a glow, it will give off light. That's something to be aware of. Okay, and then you can revert. That will put it back to the initial before you did any changes at all. It will not go back to that. Okay. Okay, let me see what else. This one here is effects mode. Basically what that does is, if a sculpture is a little bit loose, if the flecks are not completely tight on it, it means you can actually animate with different effects. I'll just explain what I mean now. I'll go back. Now if I go to coat mode, is it coat mode? No, sorry, mistake. Style mode. Sorry, I didn't do style mode. I'll do that in a minute. Basically what the style mode does is, this will let you change the looseness of a particular shape. So if I click on looseness and then I hold R2, it makes this particular structure kind of less solid, if you like, not as thick. Okay. Now when it's kind of loose, that will save thermometer, like the space. Okay. You can also apply a particular fleck to it. So if I want to make a grass effect, I go over to the one that looks like streaky grass. Okay. And if I move my imp pointer over the block I'm editing, I hold down R2, and the more I hold down R2, the more of the fleck it'll apply. Now you notice if I go a little bit closer now, you kind of have a grass effect on it, which is quite nice. Okay. Also on this menu, if I go back, sorry, I can do things like impasto. They're basically different visual effects you can do, but I can also comb it and ruffle it. So what ruffle will do, it makes it thicker, so it'll make the grass look more thicker. You might have to combine a few different things. And as you can see there, it's more grassy looking. Okay, and then what this will do is a comb. I can comb the grass to be lying in a certain direction. So if I comb to the right, it's probably because it's so long, it's not looking. Okay, so that's what that will do, and then revert will put it back to the way it was originally. Okay, that's what that does. Okay, this one here is effects mode, is like animation on the particular item, so I can do various things. I can do these different, they're basically just different visual effects, like wave. If I hold over this and press R2, it will make it actually move in a wave, like an animated wave effect. Or this one will make it evaporate. Basically they're just all visual effects you can do. Okay, again, if I press D-pad to the left, I'll undo my last thing, so I leave it like that. Okay, They're all just different effects you can do. Okay, so that's what that does. Now you notice it's not animating now, because automatically it's paused. When you go back or you go to edit something, it's paused until you press R2 to or R3 to unpause it. Okay, then you have sounds. Basically what that does is that will let you do various things, like you can search online for a sound effect. You can basically make a music timeline and add your own music. Okay, you can do settings that will let you change the volume or sound effect settings. Right, sound gadgets. I've not really messed with that, so I'm not going to explain what that is because it's too technical at the moment. Okay, then of course you can start time like that, or you can stop time and rewind it. Okay, now this is a good one here because tools, if I go into this menu, it will let you undo or redo, let you move the particular sound effect you want. So if you have a sound effect there, you can move it to another side. Okay, you can clone the sound effect, you can delete the sound effect. Now draw notes, if you are doing music, you can actually create your own music, like you can from instruments like guitars and stuff. Okay, Perform it's similar to that, it's another tutorial. Right, sound recorder, that will let you record your own voice into a game if you click on that. Okay, yeah, so there you go. So that's basically all the what this top toolbar really does, and all the various options on it. Okay, and then one other thing to when you're starting off in Dreams is you can also bring up the preferences, like the settings in the game. So if you press your options button on the controller, it goes to a screen where you can do settings, or sorry, hold on, these three dots here, my preferences, and you can basically set your control scheme and your camera or what controller you use. But you can also do things like turning off the grid and various different things, dream shaping. You can make the display big or small, or various different kind of effects you can do. Prompts. Okay, so that is basically a tutorial on the basics of what these buttons do, and I hope it was useful to you, and I intend to do another couple of tutorials, so I hope you liked it. Thank you very much for your time. So take care and have a safe day.